Did Jerry make any recommendations or any suggestions?
No. I just told him I'd bring some wine.
Hey, Nate.
Hey.
Come on in.
Thank you.
Come on in.
Hey.
Hey, drink. Little Opus 1.
Morgan Noir. Yeah.
Well, that would be fabulous.
Yeah.
Right on. Should go quite well with lamb shanks.
I asked Jerry to prepare a dish that was both hearty and wholesome, something to warm us up on those cold winter nights.
Today we're going to prepare some Oregon lamb shanks. They're going to be braised in a red wine, like a Pinot Noir braising liquid, and then we're going to serve it over a Oregon blue cheese polenta. It's nice and hearty. It's going to warm you up. It's like Italian comfort food, made with nice fresh Oregon ingredients.
Yeah.
So we have our essential components. We have our lamb shanks here. We have our onion, celery, garlic cloves, and carrots. Okay, this is a kind of a rustic dish, and so we're going to leave all of the aromatics in rather large pieces. Okay, this is going to braise for 2.5 to 3 hours, and so we want them to hold up well. Okay, because when we serve this dish, we are going to be serving all of these components over the polenta. So you want nice, chunky, big pieces of the aromatic vegetables to withstand that long bracing process, and they aren't just going to fall apart. Now, in this particular case, like I said, I want nice, big, chunky pieces of celery and carrot because I want that to be part of the dish when we go to serve it. And again, nice, big pieces of celery. So again, we want nice, big pieces. These are kind of like we'll end up with some like strips of onion. All right, we'll put those in here now too. So now we have our aromatics prepared. We have a generous amount of peeled garlic cloves, and we have our lamb shanks. And now we're ready to go over to the stove and start to put it together. Okay. We have a nice large saute pan here. We've got a little olive oil heating up in the pan. Okay. You can use extra virgin olive oil if you wish, or you can use a pure olive oil. This is pure here. Now we're just going to lightly dredge our lamb shanks. Now you want to make sure that the shanks aren't wet because you don't want that a real heavy coating of flour on the exterior. So if they are damp, then you want to take a towel and dry them off quickly. But we're just going to just place them in the pan here. Start turning them over here. Oh yeah. You only need a couple minutes per side. Now, when you braise meats, you have to understand that braising is a long cooking process. And it's a process that was developed for cooking what were generally the lesser desirable cuts of meat. And they also require a much longer cooking process to break down the connective tissues of the meat. Okay, a shank, for example, there's a lot of tendon and a lot of sinew in the shank. Therefore, it takes a lot of cooking time at a lower temperature in order to get those to all break down to tenderize the meat. So now we're going to place our shanks in our pan over here. You see the oil in the pan here, the flour is kind of coming off a little bit, okay, as we're browning them, and it's actually going to create a little bit of a roux. Now also by allowing it to get kind of brown like that, it's going to add really nice color, okay, to our dish, caramelization. And then when we go to cook the aromatic vegetables and the garlic. It's going to give them, you know, a nice flavor too.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't be afraid to let that butter or that flour get a little bit of color to it.
Yeah.
Has a nice nutty kind of a characteristic to it. Gives it depth. Now the first thing I'm going to add to our pan before we do any deglazing is I'm going to add our garlic cloves. Okay. Now again, you know, we want these garlic cloves to cook up in the dish, and when they come out, when we're ready to serve the dish, those cloves are just going to melt in your mouth, and they won't have that sharpness, you know, that raw garlic has. It'll be more like a roasted garlic, and it's just going to be nice and sweet and flavorful. It's going to be beautiful. Now we're going to add our vegetables. I'm going to add a little bit of oregano. You want the sauce to have kind of a glazing quality, and not runny, but not a thick sauce either by any means. So we're just going to add a little bit of flour and incorporate that in here. We're going to deglaze with some Pinot Noir. It's a local vineyard out in the South Salem area.
Yeah.
Okay, and very nice local Pinot Noir. So we're going to use a generous amount of this in the wine here. So now we've got our aromatics here, deglazed. I'm going to add some stock. This is a chicken-based stock that we're going to add to our aromatic vegetables here. Okay. I'm going to bring that up to a boil. And I'm also going to add some demi-glace. And demi-glace is kind of is your base, brown sauce base, okay? And it takes several hours to cook this down to a sauce where it's a sauce type state, okay? This is also going to lend nice color to our sauce. Okay. Now we're just going to take this and pour all those beautiful things over these lamb shanks and cover them. Okay. And it's very important that when you braise meats that they have enough liquid to pretty much submerge them like this. Okay. Yeah. Otherwise, you've got a portion of the meat in the nice moist braising liquid, and then the other portion of it is not, and it's sticking out, and that portion will actually come out dry.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So now we're going to cover this with foil, and we'll put it into our preheated 400-degree oven, and we're going to leave it there to braise undisturbed for 2.5 to 3 hours. There we go. So we can start our polenta at about 2:30, and by the time it's done, the lamb should be ready to come out, and we'll be dining fine. Mm-hmm. All right.
While we waited for the lamb to finish cooking, Jerry and I decided to sit down to share a glass of wine and some conversation.
So Jerry, you were a waiter once, weren't you?
I was.
Yeah.
I was.
Tell us about that.
Well, yeah, actually, did you taste that? I always determined that in order to have my own restaurant, I should know every aspect of the business, and so I waited tables, I bartended, I did, banquet service, and of course working in the kitchen as well.
Yeah.
So I always enjoyed waiting tables because there's a lot of detail to it. Oh, yeah. For good service, and so you have to be very attention to detail oriented, and just looking for ways to kind of refine your service all the time.
Yeah.
So it was an enjoyable experience. I did like it. I prefer the kitchen better. But I did like waiting tables.
That's all right.
So, what do you think?
Well,
is it going to marry well with our lamb?
I believe so.
All right, good deal. Well, Pour
Thank
myself a little taste
thank
here. Thank you. And here's to you.
Here's the good food and good wine.
Very nice, Nate. I've got about 2 tablespoons of olive oil heating up here. We're going to start by sauteing a little bit of garlic in there, tablespoon or so. Yeah, that's probably the equivalent to about 4 cloves. Okay. And we're going to just lightly saute that for a minute or so. We're going to let it just slightly gain a little bit of color. Just kind of a nice golden color before we arrest the cooking. And so now we're going to add our chicken stock. Okay. So now there's actually 8 cups, okay, of stock there, and we are going to now incorporate in 2 cups of polenta, okay? And you want to just kind of stir it in and just kind of slowly pour it in. You don't have to be overly careful, but you don't want to just dump it all in because you can get lumps if you're not careful. So we're just going to stir that in, okay? We're just going to kind of keep agitating it, moving it around. So now we're going to go ahead and add, this is about a half a cup of Oregon blue cheese. Okay, just going to melt that in there. You don't want the blue cheese to be overpowering, but you want the nuance of it. Okay, it's going to be a complementary underlying flavor. Ooh, yeah. All right. We're going to take our polenta here. Okay. Oh, yeah. Now we get it nice. Lots of these aromatics here. Okay. We're going to put a little rosemary. Okay. A little bit of parsley here. Okay. Like so. And one last thing. Everything needs a little Parmigiana. Okay, a little dusting of Reggiano Parmigiano on top here. All right, Nate, I'll meet you at the table with our lunch.
Deal. All right. Deal.
Prego. Well, food is, to me, represents pretty much everything is good. Okay? Food is something that nourishes our body, of course, keeps us alive, all right? But also is something that we use to celebrate good times, to spend time with people that are close and dear to us, you know, that we hold in high esteem, you know. We use it in business to you know, have relationships with other business people. So, I mean, food plays a major role in our lives, much more than just sitting down for our meal.
Yeah.
You know, and I can't really think of too many other things that, you know, play that big of a role in our lives.
Yeah.
You know, on a day in, day out basis.
Yeah.
In food.
Very true. Yeah.
Not to mention well-prepared food.
The food is delicious,
Thank you, Nate.
and it warms me. It warms my heart. So
Thank you
I
very
thank
much.
you very much, sir.
Thank you, Nate. Buon appetito.